Ladies and gents, boys and girls, Ben Pakulski from the Mi40 gym. I'm going to demonstrate a one-arm dumbbell row. Now, we've all done a one-arm dumbbell row, and a lot of us do it, for lack of a better word, incorrectly, or at least not using maximum efficiency. So I'm going to tell you how I think it should be done for most effective contractions, and I'm also going to tell you why. I'm going to show you how to set up to isolate that muscle. And the first and most important thing we teach in every exercise when hypertrophy is your goal is you got to set up correctly to give that muscle you're trying to work the greatest mechanical advantage to work. Your body doesn't naturally want to use muscles. Your body naturally wants to move weight. So if you want to contract muscles and build those muscles, you have to predetermine which muscles are going to get the greatest ability to contract. And instead of allowing your body to set up the way it wants and use its strengths, we're going to teach you how to use what you want to build. So when doing one-arm dumbbell row, the first and most important thing, like I said, is a setup. So I'm going to use a nice easy dumbbell. What I want to try to do is I want to try to eliminate any chance of extraneous movement or inertia. So I'm trying to find a stable surface to push into, and if I can push this way, I'm eliminating any type of forward and backward movement, and that's important. So I don't want my body to be able to move in any direction. The second thing I'm doing is I'm going to use this leg to aggressively push into the ground, so I'm preventing any upward and downward movement. So now I can't move up and down, I can't move forward and back. So the only thing that I'm able to move is this. So now to mechanically advantage the lat or the upper back, I'm actually going to shift my body weight forward and out. So what have I just done there? All the weight that I'm holding in this hand, if by shifting forward and out, all this load now needs to be supported by the musculature of my back. Even if I just let it hang there, it's going to be supported by the musculature of my back. I'm still trying to push my foot through the ground, my hand through this dumbbell rack, and all I'm trying to do now is retract and pull. Protract, retract, pull. It doesn't need to be 3 separate movements like I'm doing, but for learning purposes, this is a great way to do it. Okay, so a few things you're going to notice is, why did I choose to put the same leg forward as the arm that I'm rowing with? And a really simple demonstration that I give all the time in class is, if I put a 200-pound dumbbell on the floor and asked you to pick it up, what would your body naturally do? What would your first instinct be? Get as close to that dumbbell as you can. Why? Because your body naturally needs to produce a lot of force through the ground to be able to move that dumbbell, pick it up off the ground. So if I were to take my foot and place it way over here, I take the other foot and place it way over here and try to pick that weight up, it'd be really hard because the distance from that weight is really great. So in order to generate the maximum amount of output with the greatest amount of load for this exercise, I need this foot to be as close to that dumbbell as possible. The less distance, the more load I can actually use and the more output I can produce in general, if you're doing the exercise correctly. So I'm trying to really minimize that space between the foot and the dumbbell. See that? Even if I were to be there, still a huge amount of space. And now I'm asking the muscles of my lower back and my core to do a lot more work because they're having to resist this rotation. So I don't want to do that. I want to try to lock my body in and only isolate one muscle. So that's why that's really, really important. As far as execution, this exercise offers the greatest opportunity at the back of the range. So I'm trying to get my lat really, really short. This is a lat exercise. Don't kid yourself, it's definitely a lat exercise. So let's make sure your arm is really pressed in against the body. If you want to make it an upper back or a rear delt exercise, then you can start coming up here. But if you want to keep it as a lat exercise, keep your elbow really, really close to the body and try to force as much extension in the elbow as you can and then wrap around your body. So a lot of us are going to try to extend, they keep going back and they end up turning into a rear delt exercise. So we just want to think about, instead of thinking about the geographical location of the dumbbell or where my arm is, think about getting that muscle short. So I'm trying to bring the insertion closer to the origins. So I'm coming around and almost wrapping around my body. And you see what I do that, what naturally wants to happen is my body wants to rotate. That's the other benefit of having this same leg forward, is my rotation is going to be limited to what can happen at the spine. So I can actually try to pull into rotation. That's as far as I can physically go. I can't go any further than that. Whereas if I had the other leg forward and I pulled in rotation, I can come all the way here, which doesn't actually add to the exercise. It actually takes away from it because the rotation is happening at my hips rather than my spine. So important realizations for you. So spend as much time as you can in the shortened position on this exercise. Really get that lat really, really short, thinking about coming around back behind the body and spending time there and squeeze it like it owes you money. Avoid the natural tendency of your body to want to cheat. And the first cues for cheating are what? Naturally, it's going to want to come up. Your elbow's going to want to drive up. So always avoid that. Your body's going to want to naturally move. So we definitely want to eliminate our body's natural tendency to cheat. And hopefully by the way we set up, Simply by locking that foot into the ground, locking that hand into the dumbbell rack, we can eliminate the natural tendency to move, to create extraneous movement to generate inertia. So we've locked your body in stone, and we just allow that muscle to isolate and work only through that muscle. And the next thing we teach is making sure that muscle you're trying to work is moving first. Initiate with the working muscle. If you can do those things alone, the potential for growth is tremendous, and you'll definitely be doing this exercise a lot more appropriately and effectively. Ben Pakulski from the Mi40 Gym.